Just north of downtown Nashville in historic Germantown is a beautiful little garden. It is the Campbell Land Trust Garden, and it was recently inducted into the Tennessee Land Trust, and we're going to go take a quick tour and see all the tender loving care that's been put into it. I'm here with Burdell Campbell in this spectacular garden. Why don't you just tell me about it?
Well, this garden started out as my husband's garden, Ernest Campbell. He was a professor at Vanderbilt, and when he was starting retirement, he said, when I retire, I'm going to be a gardener. He went to master gardeners, so he was a master gardener, and the whole idea was his, that from street to alley was space, and anywhere we traveled, anywhere in the world that he saw something growing, especially if it was an indigenous plant, he wanted some of it. Right back here, it wasn't indigenous, but there's specimens in here that inspired him that was from lots and lots of places.
Okay.
You couldn't bring plants, but you could buy seeds.
Okay.
And you could find addresses that you could order them from places that had license to ship them.
Okay.
But our specialty is native plants.
Wonderful.
And we have a collection of wildflowers back here. These are wild woodland phlox.
Yeah.
The purple. And in here are at least 3 kinds of woodland violets, which become a plague from time to time. The Virginia bluebells have finished, except one tiny speck I can see back there. And over here is Star of David, Star of Bethlehem, different people. That's
whites.
a wild one.
Yeah.
And these are May apples. Oh, and here's one with a blossom.
Yeah, here's one that's just
Every
starting
blossom,
to open.
every plant has one white blossom, and
So
there'll be
fun.
one little green apple there.
So this is a beautiful little jonquil here.
Yes, and it's a heritage bulb that goes back. It's supposed to be the kind that the early settlers, the first people that planted flowers in this country likely had some of those.
Wonderful.
My mother had some, but we weren't settling America. And behind it is the blue, Chinese blue forget-me-nots, which is just a favorite of mine.
It is, those colors together.
I love that little blue forget-me-not.
And so these are the Spanish bluebells?
Yes, and occasionally you get a pink one, like that one.
A few pink ones
Yeah,
here.
and then these are species tulips, and species are never hybrids. They've never been hybridized. This is the way they grow in the wild.
Yeah, I
We
love
have at
those.
least 5 different kinds of
Wonderful.
species, and they come up every year. These have been here at least 10 years.
Wow.
So
perennial tulips, yeah.
Oh yes.
'Cause I just love the
look
spurs.
at the front of that little blossom. And it's one of the most complex blossoms on the face of the earth.
It is.
And,
So this
and that's
is,
the traditional colors.
Yeah.
We have some other columbine that's not, and we allow them to come up. We go with the flow, and we've never had this clump here just all by itself. This is a new delight.
Now, is this your house actually right here?
Yes, this is my house. This is where I live,
Wonderful.
and we grow no grass. We have no lawn.
Thank you.
We come out of the house into the garden.
So these are some really mature trees. Tell me about these.
The Kwanzan cherry, the pink one is a Kwanzan. Every tree in this garden we planted.
Wow. Are these apple trees over here?
That's an apple tree. I have at least 4 apple trees.
Wonderful. So
Maybe
you've got
6.
You've got a little mini orchard going on
Oh
here.
yeah, not a mini, a big. And I think there were about 19 peach trees.
Oh,
It
wow.
got very out of control. Now we have removed half the peach trees totally from the ground.
Yeah.
And the ones we left, we pruned severely.
Sure.
And then we sprayed them with an acceptable, approved organic spray. And they get sprayed one more time next week. And after cutting all those trees down, I count and I still have 11 peach trees. But at the end of this year, I'll take out half those peach trees.
Wow.
I have to, because
Yeah.
they had not grown like this when my husband was here. He had no idea how overgrown the orchard would get.
Yeah, yeah.
So come back. We should have some good peaches.
Oh yeah, would love to. So with this size of a garden, there seems to be tons of work. How do you do this?
It's tons of work, all right. And it's endless. And I'm lucky that as the garden became known as a land trust garden, people called and said, well, can I help? And I said, those are dangerous words. The answer is yes. And so I've had as many as a half dozen different people.
Wow.
Not at one time working here.
Sure.
But 4 people are here off and on regularly. And now Steve is more than a volunteer. He's a volunteer, but he's also the man you have that pruned the peach trees and sprayed the peach trees.
Yeah.
And he also is a gardener over at Monell's.
Oh, wonderful, yeah.
So between Monell's and Campbell Garden, we keep him very full-term occupied. So it demands a lot of help. And then if something is needed to be done and we can't do it, then it waits until we can.
Sure.
It's an easy, casual, we let the plants have a mind of their own, and then we have to be casual about, we're serious, but we get the jobs done, but nothing is rigid.
Well, I can tell it's a working garden, and I love the flows of it. And you just let things seed out and let them be where they want to be.
And if you visit next week and come down this path, you'll stop and say, but this is not like it was, and it's true.
It's constantly evolving.
And now later in the year, keep in touch, because the lilies are a show.
Oh, I bet.
They really are.
Yeah.
The early spring bulbs and the ephemerals are, you see that, this must be my favorite because it's so wonderful to get them after winter.
Yeah.
But then when the lilies move in, they are not native flowers.
Sure.
The blooming things are the showpieces that we enjoy, but the wild plants are still our favorite.
So we've got this wonderful sign that you've got here that's, talking about the induction of it in the land trust. So when did that happen? And tell me about that.
Well, this was last summer.
Okay.
We had a garden tour, and that's the picture. The first spring we lived in this house, and that's the row houses that are restored beautifully, and that's Ernest tilling the first time, and I'm digging with a hoe back there. That was his first, and this was his last spring in the garden.
So this
those are tulips that he planted, the last tulips that he planted.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I'm sure they're still blooming today.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Of course, I was gardening with him, but there were days I said it's his inspiration, and some days it's my persecution. But we were both in here working on it. One of the things that bothered him greatly, he'd be sitting out here on a stool, pulling weeds, planting bulbs, and saying, I wish there was something that I could do that would assure me that when I can't garden this place, nobody can put any buildings on it. And we didn't know anything could. So when the Land Trust started focusing on preserving urban green space, I jumped at the opportunity.
Of course.
And called Jeannie Nelson, and she knew the garden and she was as excited as I was. So to have it under protective easement is just a dream that he was having that he didn't think would ever come true. I want you to see the Carolina silver bell before you leave.
Yeah, well, let's go look at it, yeah.
Okay, all right. You have to come around and then look up because we've been looking down so much.
Wow, yeah, when we first walked in, I totally missed this. It was just over my head the whole time.
This was our master bedroom, was up there, the windows. It was so wonderful every morning to be greeted with it.
Sure. And so this garden is open to the public? You like to have people walk through?
Well, it isn't, no, it's not open to the public. People can check with me.
Okay.
And I've told neighbors, if you're wandering through, I'd like to see you.
Sure.
Check. If I
Okay.
miss you and there's something you want to see, there's a gate at the front and a gate at the back, so they may walk through. But
Okay.
it's not an official public garden.
Sure, okay.
It's a private garden that I like to share with people.
Wonderful, yeah. Well, it really is a gem here in historic Germantown.
Well,
and
you're very nice.
I really appreciate you sharing your stories and the history of the garden. It's really been fun.
I've enjoyed doing it.
Thank you so much.
And come back, especially when the lilies bloom.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.